proceeding. This proceeding is at all times governed by the rules of procedure adopted by the board on September 26, 2011, last amended on March 9, 2020. A copy of the rules of procedure is available for review in the back of the room and online. All those planning to testify today, which does not include those solely making arguments such as attorneys, should please stand now and take an oath administered by the board's attorney.
Everyone could raise their right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, this is a quasi-judicial hearing. As such, the board reserves the right to deliberate in private. The Ohio rules of evidence do not apply to this hearing. However, professional rules of conduct do apply, and candor to the tribunal is required. The board members are citizen volunteers and are not paid for their service. They are treated as public officials under Ohio law. Any attempt to influence them, including but not limited to bribery, intimidation, retaliation, which may include contacting their employer in an attempt to exert influence, is punishable as a crime. All should be aware that this meeting is being recorded. Therefore, before you begin your comments, please state your name and address for the record. With that said, let's proceed with the first item. Mr. Owen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 1 is an application for a certificate of appropriateness for 64 East Clifton Avenue. This is an existing 3.5-story multifamily building that is proposed for some renovations to the building. That exterior work includes extending the roof line on the rear slope of the building to add additional indoor living space on the 4th floor. Removing a non-historic rear wood frame addition, rebuilding and reconfiguring the existing rear decks, adding a rooftop deck to the historic rear wing addition, infilling certain window openings on the rear and side elevations, some other replacement wood windows, installing a new cornice on the primary facade, replacing the existing front doors, and new light sconces at the entry doors on the front. There's no zoning relief required as part of this project. And just in the way of background, there was some work that was done on this building prior to the current owner acquiring it that was never reviewed by the Historic Conservation Office. And that did include removing the cornice on the front of the building and installing new front doors. So with this application, staff has recommended that the applicant address those unsympathetic changes that were made by a previous owner. And to their credit, they have gone in and looked at changes that could be made to bring that work more in line with conservation guidelines. So that is also included as part of this application. So you can see on the site plan, the hatched portion of the rear roof slope. This is what is proposed to be raised to add that additional indoor living space. You can see the deck configuration that is proposed on the back. This currently kind of wraps around this existing rear wing, and that non-historic rear addition is stuck on the back of this building here that is proposed to be removed. And here you can get a better view of the existing conditions. The current decks are fairly badly deteriorated, as well as some of the roofing. This is that non-historic rear addition that I had mentioned previously. So the plan is to remove these decks, reconfigure how they are set up, remove this non-historic rear addition. This will be the location of the rooftop deck that is kind of set back and behind the front wall of the building, so it won't be visible from the front street. And then this portion of the roof is what is proposed to be raised to allow that full height on the 4th floor of the interior. You can see this is the current condition of the building with that cornice that was removed. And it's a little difficult to see, but there are replacement front entry doors that have the colonial fan light, which is not an appropriate door for this type of building. So you can see on the front facade, this is the proposed replacement cornice. It matches the dimensions of the former cornice. It will be more streamlined and simplified than the cornice that previously existed on the site, but it will maintain that same space. It will have some brackets, and the eave will be extended to create more of a shadow line under above those brackets. So staff feels that that replacement cornice is appropriate. While it's not as ornamental as the original, it does replicate some of the features of that, including the size being encompassing those frieze windows and including some simplified brackets. You can also see the replacement doors, which are more fitting for this style of architecture. And then the other thing on the front facade are these proposed sconces. And staff does have a recommendation in the staff report that these sconces be replaced with a more contemporary style. The Over the Rhine guidelines do specifically prohibit colonial coach-light wall sconces. And in staff's opinion, while slightly more modern and streamlined than a true colonial coach light, it does still have that same general design of a coach light. So staff would recommend that be replaced with something more contemporary but compatible. So the majority of the work on this property is going to occur on the rear. So you can see on this drawing the existing conditions on the left, showing all the existing porches and that rear addition, and the proposed condition on the right. So the porch will be simplified. It will extend up onto the third floor to allow more of that outdoor living space. There is a door entry currently on this building, so there may have been some sort of porch in the past at that location. And then you can also see the raised roof line, and this is the location of that rooftop deck. So staff does feel that these proposed changes are appropriate. The applicant has worked with staff from their original proposal to get the staircases in a better configuration. This building does have visibility from both Pete Street as well as Clifton because it is a through lot. So this is the view from Pete Street. So you can see, because that is a through lot, there will be visibility for the roof deck as well as the other rear exterior features. However, in staff's opinion, Pete Street is the secondary street. The majority of these buildings are fronting on East Clifton Avenue as through lots that also connect onto Pete. So staff feels that the roof deck and the other visible features are appropriate, as they are still on a secondary facade, and none of this will be highly visible from East Clifton Avenue, which is the primary street. The other thing to mention there are a few windows that will be infilled, and I believe this is primarily related to building code requirements for fire separation with the exit egress staircase. So these are proposed to be infilled. And then staff recommends they be set back at least half an inch from the existing wall plane to denote the location of that original opening. So with that being said, staff does recommend approval of the certificate of appropriateness for 64 East Clifton Avenue based on the plans by Michael Wentz, AIA, dated 9/6/2024. Approve the certificate of appropriateness with the conditions that the proposed antique bronzed glass wall lantern shall be placed with a more contemporary style to be approved by staff. The light source shall be screened from public view by frosted glass or solid casing. Also, the infilled window opening shall feature a recess of at least half an inch to denote the location of the original opening, and any stone lintels and or sills shall remain in place. 3, the building permits must be issued within 2 years of the decision date, or the COA shall expire.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. We do have 3 people signed up for this. I believe they're all owner or applicants. If you're an owner and applicant and want to come forward and add anything, this is your time.
My name is Michael Wentz. My address is 7813 at Gregory Lane, Montgomery, Ohio, 45242. I'll introduce yourself.
Neil Marquardt. I'm at 42 West McMicken and Over the Rhine, 45202.
We'll just add a couple little things. Done a fantastic job on fully describing the scope of the project. I just want to say that, like, I think Cincinnati is fortunate to have clients like ours, Neil and Lauren Markart, who have looked for buildings like this that need quite a bit of help. And they've done, this is project 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 in Over the Rhine. And buildings like this that have been neglected for years and years and years. Their code, their fire traps, horribly inefficient, not code compliant. You can see by the elevation on the left, that stair there is about, should be classified as a ladder. It's really, it's pretty incredible. So we're putting on a commercial code appropriate stair on the rear of the building. We're not raising the building at all. The existing ridge line will stay the same. We do want a little, some additional head height in that 4th floor unit. But really there's not a whole lot we're doing. We are gonna recreate that cornice, as Doug mentioned, replace the doors and clean up the building to bring it to its old glory. But I think, Neil, I don't know if you have anything to add, but we're excited about how it's going to rejuvenate itself.
Yeah, no, I would just add that I think I was here maybe 8 months ago. We sat in the same chairs, and one of you asked, if we were crazy. We were here to talk about 50 East McMicken, which I'm really happy to report is about a month away from being complete. So we're and you gave us approval to build a garage on the back. So we're gonna put those up for rent pretty soon, and we're really excited about that. And this would be our next project. We live about 3 blocks away from this place, so we really love the neighborhood, and there's a lot of good work being done by some of the bigger companies. But we have day jobs, but we really love doing this work, and we've partnered with Mike and Kelsey, and hopefully you're going to see us in another 9 months talking about another one.
Are there any questions from the board for the applicants or staff?
Could we go back to the proposed south elevation to East Clifton? So that the cornice work has not been done yet. Is that accurate, correct statement?
Yeah, there's been some work done on the front elevations. You can see there's scaffolding in some of those pictures. But the cornice work has not yet.
So it will look like this when.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the brackets aren't there. The overhang, I'm not sure is there. So that still is yet to be built out.
Thank you.
And I laughed when you mentioned the fixtures and the doors. Those were going no matter what anyone in this room had to say. We're gonna switch those out.
Well, I just comment. I appreciate you taking an interest in this building too, for what it's worth.
Thank you.
Okay, I do not have anyone from the public signed up. So if there are any more questions or comments, now's the time. And if not, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness as laid out by staff.
Second.
Call the roll. Mr. Zalesko?
Aye.
Mr. Dobbins?
Aye.
Mr. Sunderman?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Thank you and good luck.
Good job.
Thanks so much. Hey, we'll see you in 9 more months or so, give or take. Thank you, everybody.
Did a good job.
Okay, item number 2, Ms. Meehan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is an item for a new rooftop deck in the Betts Longworth Historic District. So the subject property is situated at 437 Hopkins Street, which is at the southeast corner of Hopkins and John Street in the Betts Longworth neighborhood. The existing 2.5-story, 3-bay Italianate style brick building was built circa 1880, according to the auditor's website, and has a later 2-story rear addition added circa 1900 and a 1-story garage since converted to an apartment located on the west elevation, and this was added in circa 1980. A driveway courtyard area is located in front of the former garage on the west side of the house, and It has a low brick wall around it. The property is a three-family dwelling bordered by an existing building on the east side, bordered by John Street on the west, with Cincinnati Public Schools Stargill Stadium located on the other side of John Street, also to the west. You can see it in this photo here. Another dwelling is located immediately behind this one to the south. So the applicant is proposing to add a 16 by 22 by 6 rooftop deck on top of the existing non-contributing garage. So the garage is kind of on the right-hand side in this photo. It sits back from the street a good amount. As you can see here, it does face directly onto the side street, which is John Street. So the garage has a flat roof with a parapet wall around all three sides. The proposed new rooftop deck will sit up on the parapet wall and be structurally supported by the wall with 6-inch CMU supports underneath. The floor of the deck will be a wood composite like a Trex with a 36-inch handrail. The handrail will be composed of wood supports with 3-inch spaced cable railings between them. The new deck will sit just under 4 feet above the parapet wall of the garage. It will be highly visible. An existing window in the wall, the fourth one from the front, will be converted into a door to allow for access to the roof deck. The new door is proposed to be a craftsman style door with a window at the top and 2 panels below. The existing lintel above the window will be retained and reused above the door, so the door will fit in that opening. It will not be widened to accommodate the door. There are unpainted brick portions of the garage building that will remain unpainted, whereas a concrete block portion had previously been painted and will remain. And you can, I don't have it up here, but in your packet, you can see the garage that has some painting on it. So there is another rooftop deck in the same historic district that was approved by the board with a similar railing. It was at 411 Clark Street. Now this one was up on the roof. It is visible from a side elevation. It's not visible when you're looking directly in front of it and viewing it from the front. But this was approved by HCB at a hearing on June 7th, 2021. And this proposed new rooftop deck will use a very similar type of metal cable style railing, as you can see in this photo. So for the certificate of appropriateness, staff does feel that because this is the garage is a later non-contributing part to this building, constructed in circa 1980. So staff does feel that it is appropriate that it have a bit of a more contemporary feel to it for the rooftop deck, because it is not, this is not a historic part of the building here. So staff does recommend that the board take the following actions. Approve a certificate of appropriateness for 437 Hopkins Street, including any revisions submitted for permit, subject to staff review and approval with the following conditions. The new door on the second level should be a 4-panel or half-light door with panels beneath, which is more in keeping with the architectural style of the building versus a craftsman style door. The building permits must be issued within 2 years of the decision date, or the certificate of appropriateness shall expire. And staff recommends that the board make the following finding, that the board makes the determination per section 1435-09-2, that the property owner has demonstrated by credible evidence that the proposal substantially conforms to the applicable conservation guidelines. And the proposed roof deck and railing, while highly visible from the side street, is not highly visible from the primary street and is located above a non-contributing addition. And staff feels that this will not substantially detract from the character of the original building or surrounding district.
Okay, thank you. We do have an applicant signed up, Mr. Shorten. If you'd like to come and add anything, now is your time.
Hi, my name is Jason Shorten. I live at 437 Hopkins Street. I don't have anything to add unless you'd like me to.
Are there any questions?
I do have a question. Did you evaluate vertical railing or spigot guardrail at all, or did you just jump right to this?
I just jumped right to it. I mean, I wasn't against it, but I looked around the neighborhood and saw what they were already using.
Vertical.
What's that?
Did you just say you were not against having?
I'm not against it, if that's no problem. Whatever. The rail itself, and the door is no problem. Whatever you guys recommend is fine. I just want to have the deck.
I appreciate that. My thoughts for the board are, and to be honest, I'm probably gonna get in trouble here. I don't remember how I voted, and I'm sure I was here during the 21 case. If I did approve that, I think it was because it was immediately adjacent to what appears to be an industrial zone. This is kind of in the middle of the neighborhood. And I'm not sure personally I'm as comfortable with making an exception for an industrial style guardrail. Because if you just stand there, you see 30 guardrails with vertical infill from that location. And I couldn't find anyplace else other than one up by,
Clark and Central.
the other street. So if you don't, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So if you don't have a cost
No
issue, or,
It's pretty similar, so it's no problem.
and I assume it was so you could see the games better down at Sturgill, but I mean, I don't know.
No, I just thought it looked neat. I'm perfectly happy with the alternate. I didn't realize that was the standard, or else I would have gone for it already, no problem.
Well, I think I would probably vote no, other than if we could make the correction to have vertical pickets in the infill for the guardrail.
I don't mind the cables because they sort of go away, but if others feel differently.
I'm also ambivalent on this. It can go either way.
Yeah, I'm either way.
Do you have a preference? It sounds like it's probably,
I prefer this, like you said, it disappears and it can have a better visual, but if it goes through with it like this, great. But again, I'm amenable to anything.
Yeah, I think it's not that inappropriate in that location, but the fact that it doesn't exist anyplace else, I'm a little, we've said this before, setting a precedent. Are you really setting a precedent? I don't know, you can argue yes, you can argue no. But I'm probably more concerned about that we do two of them and then everybody wants them.
are there any additional questions?
Could we just make an amendment? Cover that?
I mean, we haven't had a motion yet, so you could make a motion that either accepts the current proposal or,
Shalasco, would you like to make a motion on that?
I can do that. That would include the revised.
Sure.
Or you might have a quorum without me if everybody approves it and I voted no.
let me make a motion that we approve the certificate of appropriateness as laid out by staff. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
So this would be without changes. So we can see if this goes. Does this
No.
seem fair for everyone?
Sure.
Mr. Zalesko?
No.
Ms. Dobbins?
Aye.
Mr. Sunderman?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
Yeah, Godspeed.
It's not listed on the agenda, but I do believe we have staff level approvals for today.
You said me.
Were there any questions or comments on the staff approvals?
Probably just like a 4 panel, like what's on the house now.
Front door.
Something like that.
Straight them on.
Should I make a motion to approve the staff approvals?
Second.
Mr. Zalaska?
Aye.
Ms. Dobbins?
Aye.
Mr. Sunderman?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Is there any additional business?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, I will entertain a motion regarding adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.